All right. I've got TJ here from Atrium. Thank you for joining this call and really just having a conversation with me.
Yeah, man. I guess we've known each other a couple years, so it's good to get a chance to sit down. I feel like when we've gotten a chance to get together, we're running, so this is good.
Yeah. Yeah. There's every time we've seen each other, we've been in the get as much as we can get done very quickly over a 36, 72 hour period, right? Because I think,
Exactly. With no sleep.
yes,
Yeah.
both times that we met the first and the second time, we were at the Glue Hackathon, number two and number three. And yeah, those are fast paced, a lot of fun, lots of new people, but you're also trying to get new things done quickly. You're coding a lot, right?
Yes. I would say though, for us, for me personally, like meeting people like you and other people that we've met is as valuable as anything else that is part of that event.
Yes. Some of the just best conversations and connections with people that I continue to talk to. Yeah, lots of great connections there. And really eye-opening in some ways of how many people are out there actually trying to build something for the church. So, really cool to see.
Yeah, actually, the interesting story about the hackathon was the first one that we did, which I guess was 2 years ago when I think we first met. My partner Ryan and I we weren't building Atrium yet. We were in the concept of it, and we talked to some really influential people in the space, and we said, what would be your recommendation if we wanted to see this through? Um, a guy named Grant Demeter, who I think you know, said, I would definitely recommend going to the Glue Hackathon. I think it's in a couple months. Like, go and meet the industry, smartest people you're going to find are going to be at this event, and spin up something and see if it's an industry you guys want to spend time. And yeah, we left there saying, like, these were not only some of the smartest engineers we ever met, but like these engineers love Jesus and were working for the church, and it was so cool. It was a really cool environment.
Yeah, it really was. I hope they keep it going. I haven't heard about this year yet.
I don't know.
I hope they do it again. Yeah. Tell just real quickly, tell us what Atrium is now, and what I would love to go into. Just I know some of it, but I'd love to know more just of your history, your story of how you got to Atrium and why you decided.
Sure. So I've spent probably the last 20 years building tech companies. So I've built three venture-backed tech companies in the secular space in different industries. I'm mostly focused on mobile tech. Built those three companies, exited three, and after I exited my last company, we were looking for an opportunity that was different, that I thought could be redemptive and could be kind of mission focused. And we came up, I was just serving a ton in church. I wasn't pouring everything into a company at the time and just serving a bunch, and just saw a lot of opportunities. And so one of the things that really kind of hit me was this concept of healthy people build healthy churches.
Mm,
And so with part of that, using data to help to educate and inform that decision. So one of the things we created was the again, this concept around churches being healthy from the inside out. And so what we've built is Atrium helps churches to understand their staff, their volunteers, and their congregation. And so we do that in different cadence. Like for staff, what we'll do for a church is we'll do a staff assessment to help them understand their staff's spiritual gifts. And then every week, we'll check in with the church in a very short, takes about 10 minutes for all the church staff to give an update, give stories of the week, of the last week that they heard, any blockers they have. And really it gives churches with staff a really easy way through technology to understand um, the health and heart of their staff. And then
mm,
we do the same thing for volunteer, where we survey the volunteers on a quarterly basis. Can't do it every week, but we do that quarterly to really understand, again, spiritual gifts of the volunteers, and then where they feel like they can add the most value, stories they're doing in really trying to understand the volunteers. And then in a broader scope, usually, twice a year or yearly, the church customers that we have want to understand the whole heart of the church. They want to understand the things that are struggles, things that the congregation wants to work on. And so it really gives pastors this kind of like 360 view of their church from the staff to the congregation.
Yeah, really awesome. I know we've chatted before about all the things that it does. I'm super amazed at all the things that you guys are putting together there. Not the easiest project, but you have, as you've mentioned, you have a lot of background and history and building things. Before we jump more into Atrium, I'm curious from why did you decide what did you do early on that kind of got you into the software area, and sort of what are some of those things that you've learned to transition yourself from this three venture backed businesses to now this one inside the church?
For me building companies, I always try to find, very simply like pain points, in my circle, either companies I was working with or things that I could see, find pain points, and then, finding ways to alleviate those pain points through technology. And so, anything that I've started in the past was all like truly just based on need that I saw that we could help to alleviate that pain. I think when I started serving a ton and volunteering at our church, it was the same thing. There seemed to be a lag in technology that traditional if you call it organization were using and had access to that weren't necessarily built for the church.
Hmm.
There's, certain HR tools, understanding like survey type tools that weren't applicable for the church. And so it was, again, this is, you know, 2 years ago, which seems like a lifetime when you're building a company, but trying to understand, again, try to fill some of those gaps and the pain points that we saw. And it was going from building tech for companies that, I enjoyed it. It wasn't soul enriching. And now, as we roll out churches and we can really see impact in the conversations we're having with our church customers, it fills a lot of buckets.
Yeah, that's cool. I know that a lot of people that watch these videos are people kind of starting up a new software in the church space or just generally anywhere. I know a thing that people think about a lot is funding. So
Mhm.
you've been venture backed by three different products, and now I believe you're bootstrapping this one, right? That's the plan, if I remember right?
Yeah, we've raised a small seed round, but basically we've
Okay.
bootstrapped up to this point. Yep.
Okay. So mostly bootstrapped, which is
Mhm.
different than being venture, which I love. I love bootstrap too. So that's how I've done
Yeah.
everything. I'm curious, was that a decision you made because you didn't like the venture backed? Is it only because you're in the church space there was some decision? Was it because like I'm curious if there's some learnings in that for people who are kind of in this stage right now thinking about it. What did you like, not like about the venture backed arc?
So I think there's two things. I think the first part was we always took venture money when we could at my other companies.
Okay.
And so we always took venture capital too soon.
Hmm.
Meaning there was this very quick expectation. I think anytime you raise money, there's an expectation of growth, that capital is going to accelerate growth. We're in our culture and our mindset, growth is everything. And so there's that expectation of as soon as I take a dollar, that should be going towards growth, quick growth. And that sometimes sacrifices the product. And so, I saw that over and over and over was we had this pressure to, go out the market, start to get immediate traction, even though the product wasn't right. Maybe the product market fit wasn't right either. And so we had the luxury at this point to not rush it, to take a little time. And I always think the best way to do it is to get it in the hands of your customer and and then get feedback,
Yeah.
and that might take a week and it might take 2 months, but we did have to evolve the product a little bit. We were really focused initially on attendance and kind of big data, and we found that we thought that it was valuable to the church. It just churches weren't necessarily looking for that data to be better. And so what they really wanted to understand was, is my staff burning out? How are my volunteers doing? And where's my congregation need help? And so um, I think by bootstrapping it as long as we could, it gave us that opportunity. And then I think the second thing is in faith tech is, even though it's a big market, there's over 300,000 churches
Hmm.
in the United States. We're in the middle, I believe, of in a revival. That total addressable market is still a little bit small for most venture capitalists. Some of the investment money is going, like Glue's done an amazing job of raising redemptive capital, mission focused capital, but it's still a category that is considered a bit of a niche.
Yeah. So do you think then, in your opinion, you're able to sort of build the thing that is more important, or build the thing that you really think needs to be built, or gives you the time and space to build what the market is wanting? Is that it? Am I kind of summarizing what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a balance because you don't want to build it too far in the back room and not get it out in front.
That's where I
So
was.
it's software's never done. Software's always evolving, and you have to get it out. So there's a balance though, and I think the challenge is sometimes you don't get another chance to really mess up. And so that's the other balance, is when you're forcing the product out, when you don't have your product market fit, you don't have your fundamentals done. I think sometimes you rush it and you lose opportunities later on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. What do you think? Last question about venture back, and we can move on to the next thing. But I'm just curious in this area. Do you think that in most cases for the church, given all the things that you have said and know about both areas, that it is better to go without venture? Do you think that that's the better way in most cases? And where would be the scenario that it would be maybe ideal to do it?
I think we have an interesting opportunity in this space where you have a handful of companies that are growing and outsizing where they were 5 years ago. What I think you're starting to see is a small group of companies get really big,
Hmm.
and then you've got a lot of really interesting technology. And so I think there's a gap. And I think that, we need more seed and pre-seed. We need some ability to support those small technologies, because I think some
Yeah.
of those are really, really important for the ecosystem. And I think,
Yep.
some of those technologies, especially what you're doing at Sermon Shots, is amazing technology, but we need a chance to incubate those more. And not everyone can bootstrap a company and not have at least a minimum way to live.
Yeah.
I do think, I don't know if VC money is necessarily the win. Maybe it's like a lot of venture, that are able to kind of foster and grow, maybe 25 or 50, companies to get to the next phase.
Yeah. I have been seeing more and more of these kind of, I don't know what you call them, niche sort of, like, they understand the difference of like what's happening in the church space and the software. They understand all the things that you're saying. It's a little bit smaller, that you're not going to go after this like ultra fast unicorn status in this industry. But there's a more important thing here that is happening. And I'm seeing more and more money come into this sort of early stage because I agree. I think, you know, the 2 of us are pretty fortunate that we were able to bootstrap. That's not a luxury that everybody has.
Right.
You do that, you're doing it on the side, on the nights, weekends, and, not a horrible thing, but
Mm-mm.
may not get you there where you need to be. So I think seeing some of these, sort of seed investment opportunities out there, they're there. I'm seeing them a little bit more often now than I did a few years ago.
I think the other cool shift I'm seeing is, uh, and this just could be from our travels and who we're talking to, but I think there's a big shift happening right now in the church space where a couple years ago everything was focused on growth,
Mm,
growing numbers, growing giving, increasing generosity. And it's really cool. It just feels like in the last year, 6 months, we're seeing just a lot of churches say, like, I want to, understand and shepherd my people who I have today. And that for me is a huge passion, because I love that it's being appreciative for the congregation size that you have today, and really helping them in the best way you can.
yeah. Well, when you were sort of in the last couple of years, do you feel like with Atrium you have that? So did you have that moment yet of like, I have finally found product market fit. This is it. We're moving forward. Did you have that moment roughly? And do you remember it? Like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things when we did the last Glue hackathon, in October. The product that we brought this year was called Atrium Heartbeat. And
I remember it.
prior to bringing that product, we talked to 5 7 pastors and said, hey, just interviewed and just try to figure out, if then what, if you had this tool, what would that mean for your congregation? And from that conversation and from us scoping that out, it literally changed our
Mm,
trajectory.
mm,
At that point we realized that's, the rest of the pieces are still valuable, but this one thing is the foundation of, first off, Ryan and my passion, which is helping the church to understand their people and helping to grow and looking for the lost one. And that literally changed it.
mm.
It went from a nice to have to I'm really passionate about this, from our church customers and partners and anyone that we were talking to.
Yeah. So once you hit that moment, do you feel like it sort of gave this clarity moving forward? Or do you like
Oh yeah,
where are you
100
at now?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was like we started with congregation and we started with the heartbeat, like trying to understand the heartbeat of the church. We did that through visitor. So if someone fills out a connect card or a new visitor card, we would reach out to them through an automated system and ask a couple questions to figure out. It's a big difference. Are you
Mm,
a family looking for a church, or are you, you're hurting and you just walked in here by yourself? And that's an important distinction. And so that's kind of what the heartbeat does, is it helps to understand. And then from there we just said, let's keep listening. And churches said, this is great, but I would also love to hear how my volunteers are doing and how my staff is doing. And so that's really helped us to, I wouldn't say like expand, but that gives us clarity around one anchor, which is our heartbeat.
yeah.
And then we've added these other two pieces on top of it, which is, it's as you know, like when you're building a company, sometimes you try a lot of different things and you throw it on the wall to see what will stick. It can, sometimes if it doesn't come in the time that we want, it can get frustrating. And
Yeah.
it was really like that, like peace moment when we finally got to that point and we started to see fruit from that. It was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So what you're saying is sort of similar to the way I think about it is you found this thing, threw spaghetti at the wall. Yep. Found the thing that stuck. And
Hmm.
for me, the way that I've thought about these things within a product is you find that thing that actually is the sticking point and you're adding pieces to it that like connect to it. So you can, in some ways, and if somebody asks you what Atrium is, you could say two sentences because that core thing, right? But all the features you're building on, you can explain it more with more detail, but it
Sure.
all sort of comes together in this one thing that you can summarize in one word, heartbeat, right? So, or two, is that two words?
Yeah. But it's always, you're right. It's always the ands. It's, we do this and we do this and we do this and we do this. It in my experience of doing this for a long time, it means you either don't trust what your core value is,
Yeah.
or you haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
And so you just keep saying the ands until whoever you're talking to says, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so it takes a lot of discipline and faith and trust to say, no, this is what we do, this is what we solve, and this is how we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Well, now you have product market fit, you have a good vision, you're moving forward. What do you think in this stage is where you need to go next with Atrium? I'm curious. Not necessarily features or anything like that, but I'm curious
Yeah.
in the business and that side of things. Where are you going next?
So for us right now, it's go to market. That's really all we're thinking about right now, is go to market, not just sales, but taking what we've built, continuing to refine, listen to our customers, make it better, add more value, and then just get in front of more like-minded churches and pastors who see the same vision. We know that, what we build is not for every church in the world, and
Sure.
that's okay. Like there's, you have to have a true passion for your staff, volunteer, and congregation, I think, for it to work well for you. And our hope and prayer is that everyone has that, but churches
Yeah.
are at different stages.
It's not for everyone. It's only for the people who really care about their staff.
Yeah, if you care about your staff, then it's a perfect platform
Like
for
that.
volunteers. But what do they say? A lot of people vote with their feet, so it's a good indicator. But right now we've hired a head of sales, really just to help to evangelize and get the messaging out. We're investing in our customer success platform on the back end. So those are the two areas that we're really trying to hire amazing people on the kind of outbound bit. And then also, probably even more important, is training customer success and helping our customers to understand how to get the most out of the platform. And that's the part I love, is you've built something, you see the value, and now the fun part is getting it out into the world.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, ever since we met, I love the history and the story. It's always been great chatting. Thanks for being willing to record our chat, I guess.
Do we have to do this next time we hang out? Do we have to record our
No, no, we
our
don't have to. Oh, we
conversation?
could if you want to.
We could, yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah. So for those, I've got a mix in my audience. For those that are interested in Atrium, where should they go? And those that just kind of want to follow your story,
Yeah.
where can they connect with you?
So atriumheartbeat.com is the website. That was another fun thing. We changed, we were getatrium.ai works, but we made a shift and we were all in. So
Okay.
it's atriumheartbeat.com, and then I'm on LinkedIn a bunch. So tperson01, TJ Person. So would love to connect and learn. We're in a learning phase. That's I mean, I've learned a bunch from you, Corey, so I think it's important to always be learning.
Yeah, totally agree. So many people in this industry that connect with, whether they're new or been in it for a long time. There's a lot of great learning from everyone. So totally agree. Yeah. Well, thanks.
Awesome, man.
Thanks again.
Well, hope to. I don't know if you're going to conferences soon, but would love to um, see you out on the road.
The next one that I will be at is Missional AI. You going to be at that one in a couple weeks?
No, we're not. Unfortunately, timing doesn't line up.
I'm trying to think. I don't know what the next one is after that,
Okay.
but I'm sure. I'm sure we'll connect. We'll cross paths, and who knows if Glue does another one? Maybe we'll both be there at the hackathon.
Yeah, Boulder in September, October is
Amazing.
pretty magical.
Yes. All right. Well, until next time.
Cool.